tonight have to be Michael Owen and Francis Jeffers, I would have thought. Two young men with big futures ahead of them.
I think that's fair. Two of England's bright young strikers, no doubt about that. That young man more established, obviously, than Francis Jeffers. Burst onto the scene and has just continued to improve, learn his trade, be a right threat. He had I think, an enforced layoff when his hamstring went, Rich, at the end of last season. But I don't think in the long term it'll have done him any harm. A little break away from the game. He might not have wanted it, but you know, just sometimes it helps when you're playing all these games. But there's no doubt that he's a threat. He's got everything he needs in his makeup, including a bit of devil. Great finisher, wonderful pace, and you know, it's all there for the young lad. There's no doubt about it.
Of course, there's Everton's Francis Jeffers, who's been compared to Ian Rush. Now, there can be no higher compliment than that, I wouldn't have thought.
He's the same type of player as Ian Rush, and I was talking to Walter Smith at the beginning of the season when we did Everton against Manchester United, and the day that Francis put in his transfer request. I think something that he probably regrets now. And Walter was talking about how he loves to just play on the shoulder of the last centre-back. Likes to play in between centre-back and full-backs. And he likes the little ball threaded down in the way that Rushy used to pray in behind him. And he's got that kind of movement. Obviously not quite as established as Michael yet, but with 3 goals already this season in 7 games in the league, there's no doubt that Francis is one of Everton's, if not Everton's, main threat tonight.
We enjoy watching them, of course, but the two managers believe that both young strikers are playing too much football right now.
They play far too much football just now for their own good. Michael Owen's burst onto the scene there, has had a fantastic start to his career, and then has a hamstring injury. Without knowing the full circumstances, but through playing too much, international level, the club commitments, and we have young Francis Jeffers is the same. I was maybe a little bit loath to put him into Everton's team last year at 17 years of age because of the fact I didn't think the team were ready for, you know, a younger player that we would need to help a great deal. But to his credit, he's came in and started, and he's just starting where Michael Owen started 18 months ago. Francis is just starting, but they will have the same problem, and I think we've got to be very careful with them that they don't burn out too early.
I personally think they're very committed. They want to play all the games, but at the same time they need to build up their trade and their, I would say, their career. If you play them too often, I mean, at some stage they'll be overworked, and you'll pay for that. Apart from that, the youngsters are doing well. I mean, because of the attitude they have to the game, they have a more professional approach, I would say. And they want to succeed, they want to make a career, and they're happy to be in the job. And Michael is the first one to say, I've always wanted to be a professional player, and he's very focused, and that's an important part of the job, obviously.
Not just him, I'd love to be 18 and having a chance to wear that jersey, either of them, week in, week out. I mean, surely to goodness, they're not going to be playing too many games, are they?
Funny enough, this is not new. I can remember getting level. I came down 24 years ago. That's how long it was. I was 19 when I signed for Villa, and I remember John Bond, who probably would have been Manchester City's manager then in those days, or Norwich.
Norwich, probably.
Maybe
yeah.
Norwich. Had looked at me play in my first 10 or 12 games and said, "Yeah, decent lad, good player, but he'll be burnt out within 18 months if he carries on like that." And I think when there are different problems the managers have. I think when you're Walter Smith and it's your first big season, I always thought that you give him 10, 12 games, young Jeffers, 10, 12 games, see how he's handling it, see how he's coping with it, and then assess the situation from there. And you might have to duck him out for 2 or 3 games. With Michael Owen, I think it's totally different, Richard. I think he's served all that. He's done his apprenticeship. And I don't think I have not seen one sign of burnout in this kid. He wants to play, and if I was Gerard Houllier, I'd play him.
They left him out once, didn't they? And he came back with a hat-trick on the following Saturday. That was his response to that.
It was, yeah.
Right, we were at Selhurst Park yesterday. Wimbledon and Spurs, one apiece, and another sending off.
Another sending off, and a result that would probably please Wimbledon more than it would George Graham. But they'd be happy to get it. So we look at the goal. I mean, Wimbledon's goal, John Hartson, and all this is quite simple. Player's going to come round there, John Hartson's going to run in there, and Chris Perry, and I think it's Everson, just bumps into him. It just causes Chris Perry to lose John Hartson just there. See the gap between the two now is about 4 yards. He can't quite close it. That was a fabulous header. But Stephen Carr, what a goal. His first goal, he's delivered the pass. And then from there, there's Nielsen sort of drifting across. And I always remember saying there was very little width Tottenham had on either side yesterday. But watch Carr's run. And Marcus Gale doesn't, he tracks him most of the way, but doesn't get far enough goal side, because once that ball's been delivered and chested down,
He stops, doesn't he?
what a thrash. That's a great finish for him. Great finish.
Any sympathy with John Hartson, or for John Hartson?
Lots of it. Lots of it. I mean, I demonstrated with you one day on the floor the difference between elbowing someone and jumping with your arms. And John was guilty of jumping, using his arms for leverage. And nothing else, in my opinion, was more sinister. There was nothing sinister about it. Let's have a look at it. I think it's important here, Richard, there's the referee, Graham Paul, as the first ball comes up, and they go up, nothing there. As it comes back out, this is the one. But as that happens there, look at the referee. He might be blocked a little bit, but he's no more than what? 10 yards away?
Didn't blow for a foul either.
No, he didn't. 10 yards away. The linesman's looking here, right into the sun from maybe 40 yards away. So the play goes on, and then it's brought to the referee's attention that he's flagging, and over he goes. Now, I've got great sympathy with him. There's the first one. Both arms are coming up, but as I told you the other week there, Richard, whoever gets their arm up earliest and quickest is the one who's not going to get hurt. And twice, that's all he's done, John Hartson. He's got his arm above Luke Young's. We see it here. There's a referee. There's the first one. There's the second one.
He's tried to have a look, hasn't he?
He's had a little look at it. He's seen nothing wrong. Play on, he's shouting until it's brought to his attention by the linesman. I think John was a little hard done by. A little hard done by.
Just the one goal at Highfield Road. Coventry got it. West Ham left wondering how on earth they hadn't won the match, and I'd have to have some sympathy with that view.
Well, you told me that.
I did.
I mean,
be more honest.
And they will be absolutely furious, Richard, because the goal they concede, there's absolutely no need. They defend it better, they don't concede. If I stop that halfway there, I mean, look at the claret and blue shirts strung along the 6-yard box. I think they outnumber Coventry 8-5 in the penalty area. And Harry will not be happy that Hadji, even with a lot of his big players out, rises and scores that goal. There was another sending off. This one, I think the referee gets absolutely right. Keane, great skill again, and having got past John Moncur, yellow card.
That's not good enough, is it? That sort of response. It was a magical moment, that.
Yellow card. And here, Gary McAllister goes to ground, great tackle, but watch John. The referee looking right at it, and David Ellery's got absolutely no option. A little bit of petulance, and he's got to go. But this typified West Ham. Chance after chance. Late on in the game, just put your foot through it. What a save. What a save. And big points for Coventry.
Huge points.
Big points for Coventry.
Bradford have scored just 4 goals this season, amongst them a penalty and an own goal at the weekend. They've got themselves 8 points, and they're plugging away, to their credit.
They are plugging away. They haven't scored enough goals. I still think it's going to be a long, cold winter for them unless they address that problem. But they got a little bit of good fortune at Derby, and they kept a clean sheet, and that gave them 3 points, which for your confidence must be huge. But again, 2 sendings off. We can have a look at them. Andy Myers, this is his first one. I mean, I think that's clumsy more than anything. I have to be totally honest.
So some weeks you'll see them given and others perhaps not.
I mean, this one is more clear-cut for me. Having just been booked, if you don't win the ball, Andy, it's a new referee, you're going to risk getting sent off. Here, well, Fuertes, there's no option. David Weatherall's accusing him maybe of diving, but watch what happens as he goes. David Weatherall might incite it a little bit. You cannot do that.
You can't, but Colin Cooper did that.
Yeah, but watch. You see, I don't agree with all this either, referee. There are ways to send players off. I mean, this referee's acting like an American flipping Ryder Cup player here. Yeah, I mean, it's just too dramatic, Richard. It's ridiculous. I mean, call him over, pull the cards out, no fuss, get on with it. God's sake, don't bring your attention to yourself like that. And even here, the goal they get, Carbonari's gone up, goalkeepers come out, and in no man's land. Absolutely no man's land, and because of that, which would have been a simple gather, has cost them. But remember, the goalkeeper, Walsh, isn't it? Gary Walsh?
Gary Walsh.
Against Tottenham, he was inspired.
Magnificent that day, he was.
Well, that was 2 brilliant saves that have gone a long way to give
Quick word on Derby. They've lost 4 home games this season. Jim Smith's thinking about bringing in Benito Carbone. Would you?
Would I? No. I mean, I just think that Carbone's reputation precedes him in footballing terms, but I understand that Jim desperately needs to bring new faces and new blood, fresh faces to just kick-start his season. If he feels Benito Carbone is the man, then why not? West Ham did it with his mate Paulo Di Canio, and it hasn't half paid off for Harry.
So the Carling Premiership with 1 game to come this weekend. Sheffield Wednesday rooted 1 point from 9. Newcastle 4 from 9. Derby County dropped in there this weekend as a result of Wimbledon's draw with Spurs. Bradford out. Wimbledon just above them. 2 places up from them. Coventry, Watford, Southampton, Liverpool and Middlesbrough making up the bottom half. But Liverpool, of course, can make progress tonight. There's the Hammers. Everton, what is it, a 2-goal win would take Everton 5th? That's correct. Tottenham, Leicester, Villa, Chelsea, Sunderland in 4th. Then it's Arsenal, Leeds United. Those 2 points behind the leaders, Manchester United. Tonight, of course, it's Liverpool against Everton. And if you want to get interactive, well, this is what you should do. When the Sky Sports logo appears in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, then you can take control. Be sure to press the red button on the remote and use the left and right buttons to scroll along the 4 options: angle, highlights, replay and stats. Then you'll be interactive. Select angle and you'll get the camera behind the goal with the master view on the left-hand side of the screen. Select highlights and you won't miss a thing, as the best moments of the game are continuously replayed.
Bergkamp, Ljungberg, 1-0 to Arsenal.
Replay offers you the chance to instantly leap back 30 seconds and watch an incident again, while the live action continues in the left-hand box. Select the stats option and you'll get access to all the match facts from the live game as it happens. Groundbreaking digital technology from Sky, and if you need any more information, just push the help button and that will sort you out. Now then, I mentioned earlier, this game tonight, Liverpool and Everton, has been played more often than any